Hi, I'm Al Goff.
And I'm Miles Miller.
Hi, this is John Schneider.
Hi, it's John Glover.
This is Justin Hartley.
This is Steve the Knight.
This is Aaron Ashmore.
This is Cassidy Freeman, and you are listening to Starkville.
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 Starkville. Starkville, House of L.
Starkville, House of L.
Starkville, House of L.
The podcast.
Welcome back to the House of L. This is our episode for the Smallville Season 3 episodes Hereafter and Velocity. I'm Derek, back with you again and bringing in another special guest. If you took a Venn diagram of my friend I'm about to introduce here and me, it would be a circle. He might take that as an insult, but it's meant as a compliment. Mr. Jason Spencer, how are you, sir?
I am doing just fine. Very excited to talk about Superman because I really only have a few friends who I can talk Superman with.
Yeah.
You being the most prominent one.
Right.
And none of you live anywhere near me. Like, technically, me and you live the closest out of all of our friends, our friend group.
Yeah.
And you're still 7 hours away.
Still far away. All of us are also spread out. Yes, you were one of the original SHoEligans in the Shoe crew. With your own podcast, your own ventures, of course, and we want to talk about all those, but I'm excited for you to be on and to talk a little Smallville today, a little Superman and Smallville in general, because it's been a minute since you've been here, and I'm in this 20th anniversary now of this show being on. I'm excited to bring in people that have listened for a long time. What's your oldest Smallville memories?
Well, I'm pretty sure it was from the DVDs when you guys were on the DVD extra special features.
Oh yeah, season 6.
It's like, hey man, these guys, these fans, because it was a whole section on Smallville fans and kind of what they were doing to kind of celebrate the show. And you guys were doing the podcast, and at that point, I was like, I don't know what a podcast is.
Yeah.
Like what are they doing? They're doing a radio show,
Right?
Because this was right when podcasts were just like coming into existence.
Yeah.
And at the moment I was doing a job, I was doing some landscaping work, and I was getting really tired of listening to music all the time. And so I'm like, I'll give these guys a shot. I'll see what this podcast stuff is all about. And honestly, I think you guys at the time were really the only, not only Smallville podcast, but the only Superman podcast that I could find. And I gave you guys a listen. I stuck with you. And we talk about this often when we all get together and we kind of reminisce about the OG days of Shoe. But I remember when it was, you guys doing some cool videos on the side, trying to figure out ways to kind of get through the summer and still put out some sort of content. Fans of the show doing their own podcasts. I don't know if too many people remember Shoe 2, Shoe Squared.
There's a throwback.
Yeah, I was listening to those as well. It was kind of fun. Your show did something that that really kind of, I think, made it so you got to 20 years, and that was build this really tight community of people who all cared about the same show, who all enjoyed each other's insights into that show. We all kind of became friends, and a few of us have become really good friends to where we're like trying to get together every year in person, which is wild. But I do remember listening to the original Shoe. I remember emailing in the first time, and actually when my email got through and you guys read it on the show, and I got super excited because I was like, oh man, these guys actually read my question. They gave me insight about what I was asking about. Like it was a lot of fun to start that interaction. And then of course the boards and the, visiting Krypton site all the time. And from there on, I think there was one point where you asked a favor of somebody. You were like, hey, if anybody knows how to do this, can you reach out, help out? And I did, and it kind of just went from there. I met up with you for the first time at San Diego Comic-Con when you guys had a panel there. Mm-hmm. I helped out with some video work for you guys. And eventually it led up to, hey, we're doing a show in Atlanta. Who can come and help out? And that's kind of where it went from there.
Yeah, you actually edited the monster finale of Shoe,
Yeah.
which was no
That was fun.
yeah, which was no small task, sir. Still appreciate you for that. But you have been a constant for as long as I can remember. If you list off people that we met and become friends with through the show, you're at the top of that list. So I appreciate you more than you can know. Every time we get to chat, I know our schedules are wildly different, but we've gotten to hang out. I've probably hung out with you more than I've hung out with anybody from our friend group.
Besides Graham, he's got a
Besides
leg up
Graham,
on
but
us.
anybody that I've met through Shoe, you the
Yeah,
most, because
probably.
you've come to the house a few times, stayed over, and obviously gone on, like you mentioned, gone on trips, gone on vacations together. So it's I've appreciate you so much and have loved getting to know you closer over the past God knows how many years. I'm going to look in a minute while we get
I
to
don't
talking.
even
And
know.
it's hard to even fathom, but I've enjoyed as people have come on. I know Bolton was on last time, and I've looked up when first emails were sent and correspondence, and tried to unlock some memories that way. So we're going to get into talking about these two episodes. I want to talk about two other things real quick, and also want to ask you a few things. First thing I want to mention is, as we are getting into our 20th anniversary this year, we're doing something we've never done before, which is Patreon. We are now on patreon.com. You can go to patreon.com/superhouseofl. We've got 3 tiers there that enable you to do anything from just support us and monthly, and you get some stickers out of that. There's another tier there where you get to get some bonus episodes that aren't available to the public through the regular feeds, and then there's another higher feed there where I come to your house and berate you. No, actually, I said Steve Glosson for that. But no, you could be on the show, you get to hang out with us, maybe do a Zoom or a Riverside or something, and if you've ever wanted to be involved at some level of Shoe before, we consider yourself a producer at that level. So, but yeah, and we've also got membership cards, like a video rental store. I'm excited about getting these printed up and sent out to everybody if you're at that level. So yeah, green kryptonite, red kryptonite, and gold kryptonite over at patreon.com/superhouseofl. Hope you'll consider supporting, especially if you've been a long-time listener. We've never really asked for support before, but I'm hoping to get to do a lot of cool things this year that I've never had the ability to do before. So hoping that will help with that. So yeah, let us know if you've signed up over there. Appreciate you. And
I signed up, guys. I signed up for the Patreon, and currently the bonus episode I was able to listen to, which is you guys kind of chit-chatting about the pilot of Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
That's right.
I highly recommend it, guys. Man, that was a trip down memory lane, because I have not watched any Lois and Clark in so long.
Yeah.
And not only do you guys talk about the pilot, which was fun, because I was trying to like track along the story with you, and I was like, oh man, I totally forgot about that part. I forgot about that part.
Yep.
And but you also go into talking about the multiple guest stars that show has on. I completely forgot about the pantheon of talent that came through that show. The stunt casting alone is amazing.
Yeah.
And that brought up so many good memories that I was like, you guys have to keep doing Lois and Clark episodes.
I know.
They don't have to be in order or anything. It doesn't have to be as intense as Smallville has been. But like taking that trip into that show was mighty fun.
There's a lot of specific episodes I want to get into, and Robin and Frank are good people to do that with. So I'm excited to go through some of those. That we're going to be talking some Fleischer. And some other things leading up to the movie this year, which I want to talk to you about too, because we haven't gotten a chance just to kind of geek out about the trailer at all, just through text, but not talking to each other. The other thing I want to announce, in addition to the Patreon, kind of ties into that though, is we have launched a new show, myself and Luke Bugg, aka the Geek of Steel, that I'm really excited about. We've been in talks with the nonprofit organization behind the families for Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the Siegel and Schuster Society out of Cleveland, the official nonprofit foundation that represents them. And we have started, as of the time of this recording, yesterday, we launched the first episode of the Siegel and Schuster Society podcast.
I'm excited to listen to that.
I can't tell you what it's just a weird feeling to be in some official capacity with the people who created Superman, and talking to their families, and board members and people in Cleveland that are responsible for keeping the birthplace of Superman alive. Our first episode was with Jerry Siegel's cousin, who is also the board president of the foundation, Gary Kaplan, talking about the statues that they're wanting to unveil in downtown Cleveland there, which was the backdrop for Metropolis and the new James Gunn film coming out this summer. That they used the streets there, and obviously some of the buildings, facades, and the interiors in some ways, also with the Daily Planet being utilized there. So it's really cool to get to do this. I'm so excited to talk about Superman on another level than the way I've been talking about him for the last 2 decades. But to get to be woven into this tapestry even more is just I feel very honored to get to be a part of that legacy in some small way, and talk about something that I love. I do it anyway, but to get to do it this way is a little different, but also just very cool on a whole other level. So hope you'll subscribe to that wherever you listen. Siegel and Schuster Society podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen. Going to be doing a lot more things with there. So follow at Siegel and Schuster Society, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all those places. And you can find out when new episodes are available. We'll be doing 1 or 2 a month leading up to the movie and beyond, but we've got some really cool stuff in store. How are we feeling about Superman 2025, Jason?
I mean, it looks terrible, to be honest. No, I'm super excited for it. I'll be totally honest in that I was nervous when James Gunn was tapped to helm this movie.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if from what I've seen of his work, would work well in the Superman that I had in my mind. And to be honest, like, nobody's hit it out of the park so far. I have issues with pretty much every iteration of Superman that's ever come out. There hasn't been a perfect one. I'm sure this one will not be perfect either.
Yeah.
But what I really, really needed from this movie, and I think the trailer does alleviate that fear, is I really needed to get away from the dark, mopey Superman that we were given in the Man of Steel and that whole series. That's not me saying that those movies were terrible. I rather enjoyed the Snyder stuff. Man of Steel I still consider a really, really strong film, but not my favorite iteration of Superman.
Yeah.
I loved Henry Cavill. I think I would have loved to have seen him as a more hopeful Superman. I think he would have killed it as a more hopeful Superman. He's always going to be like top tier Supermans that have come out, but I think most of my issues from that series of movies was just the tone of Superman himself and the fact that, like, he was just literally depressed all the time. Like, there was a depressed mood that permeated that entire character through those films, and I would prefer not to have that. The trailer for James Gunn movie really gives me hope that we're going to get a hopeful Superman.
Yeah.
And that kind of eases the pain for me. Like, my worries going in are pretty much alleviated. Now I'm just ready for the adventure.
Yeah.
That being said, I was also really trepidatious about having Crypto in the film. That's a hard ask for audiences who aren't super fans like we are. Yeah. To be like, oh, a dog with Superman's powers and he wears a cape. Okay. Yeah. Like, that's a hard ask, and I was worried that he wasn't going to be able to pull that off, knowing that he did do a very, very successful franchise that featured a talking raccoon and a sentient tree. So if anybody could make that work, it's him. But that is a big ask for the general public to be on board with a Superdog. And that trailer, I think we can certainly say it works. People are in love with Krypto, and all we've seen him do is drag Superman through the snow.
Yeah. I'm with you, and I've said it on the show before. No point in treading back over that water. I was not. While I do like James Gunn's work, I was not a fan of him helming this movie out of the gate for a new studio, a new franchise. I was worried about it, not because I don't think he's got the chops, but just because what I've seen of his chops didn't really lend itself to the idea I have in my head of the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And it's taken some getting used to. And I that trailer has just, and I hate that I am that way, because I know of his love for the Donner films. Mm-hmm. He's a huge advocate for Superman the movie, and I think he gets it. But I think as a result of the Snyderverse or the DCEU, whatever you want to call it, and Superman and Lois and multiple recent iterations, you have to do something different that's not just another origin story or retreading, over similar steps. So I think he is trying to branch himself out in a different way to give us the Superman we know, but in a world that's a little bit different to us. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what he's going for. Everything from the suit to the Kingdom Come symbol, to Krypto, to there's still these constants though of Lois and the Daily Planet and Perry White and everything that we know, which it's not, to me, it's not Superman without those factors.
Yeah.
So he gets it, and I love that he gets it. And I'm still gonna. I mean, if it's bad, I'm gonna call it bad. I don't think it's gonna be. It's hard to watch everything that's come out so far and dub that. I'm like you. The DCEU was not my favorite. I do enjoy Man of Steel. I think it was a misstep to automatically go into Batman versus Superman, and everything that obviously happened from there. But I thought Man of Steel was a strong start. I thought it would lend itself more to the Superman we know, getting to see him become that as a journey through that franchise, and ultimately we never really got to that. But I'm very hopeful. Everything I've seen, David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan look absolutely incredible together as Clark and Lois. If you don't have a Clark and Lois that don't have chemistry, you're doomed before you start. So I think we're out of the gate. We're good with the two of them. I absolutely love Rachel and everything I've seen her in. I'm new to David. I've gone back since the casting and watched some things now that he's been in. I haven't
watched anything with him at all.
Have you seen Twisters?
Oh yeah, he was in Twisters.
Yeah, he's in Twisters. Yeah, but I mean, for a minute.
I don't remember him well in that movie.
Sure,
that movie's pretty. Not to say it's forgettable, but it's very average, run of the mill kind of action flick. So.
He's going to get his time to shine, and I'm excited for that to see. I'm sure he's as a Philly boy, he's very happy with the outcome of the game this past weekend. So I was not happy that we didn't get a new trailer. I was really expecting us to, but
me too.
It didn't happen. But we
just got a closer look at Guy Gardner.
Yeah, and some more crypto stuff, which was good.
Yeah. I will say I'm not a fan of Guy Gardner. His look in this movie.
He looks like Guy Gardner to me. I'm like,
he does. I'm not saying he doesn't. But some like comic accurate, comic to screen accurate things they just don't work. Like I am ready to believe that there is a super powered alien dog out there.
Yeah.
I don't really believe that a grown man in today's world would still be rocking that haircut. I can't.
As long as it makes him the butt of the joke, I'm fine with that, which I think is what he's going to be.
And I think that it's really good casting with Nathan Fillion. I wish it would have been like Nathan Fillion from like 20 years ago.
Yeah, a decade ago at least.
But I'm excited that Nathan Fillion actually gets to do something in one of these movies that's not just like a voice,
a cameo,
or a body double for a CGI character.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it because I do think he's obviously going to be I mean, Guy Gardner is kind of the butt of the joke. I mean, he's such a idiot character. What I have and seeing him in the trailer, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm fine with it. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of this introducing all these characters in that have already been established before Superman's thing. It's nerve-wracking is a good word, because we're so protective of our guy. Like we're
and when we get a Superman movie, like we want to have a Superman movie. We don't want to have a Justice Society movie featuring guest starring Superman.
I didn't want a Batman movie as a sequel to Man of Steel. I wanted a Man of Steel sequel. We've gotten 2 Superman movies in the last 20 years, and Superman Returns.
And we get a Justice League movie where Superman doesn't even appear until like the last part of it.
Right. And so I'm so trepidatious when new things get announced. I was trepidatious when Superman and Lois was announced, and I really liked Tyler and Bitsy. But they absolutely nailed that. I mean, that 4 seasons of that show was fantastic. So,
and kind of switching the conversation a little bit to Superman and Lois, like I was nervous too, because at that point I had started to get that CW universe burnout. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I wanted a Superman show that was like Supergirl.
That was live action Super Friends.
I'd started to get kind of over Supergirl pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think the one that I stuck with the longest was Green Arrow. I think Green Arrow ran a good race on that one. Mm-hmm. I still have yet to finish The Flash. I technically haven't finished Supergirl because I've seen the very end of Supergirl, so I know how it ends, so I'm fine.
I get the burnout was real.
I was like, I don't want another superhero show in this vein with Superman, because I'm burnt out by the aesthetic of this universe.
Yeah.
And when they just kind of went in their own direction to bring us one of the most cinematic Superman television shows we've ever had, and one that really kind of leaned into the drama and the seriousness of what they were dealing with, I was all for it. I absolutely love that show.
I thought they did a phenomenal job. Obviously, if you've been listening to the show, you know our feelings on that. Covering it for 4 years. Hated to see it go as a result of a new company merger, a new film, a new franchise.
It had another season at least in it.
It had another season in it, and it was just wrong place, wrong time that it landed the way it did. I'm so glad we got a conclusion to it instead of it just being canceled prematurely.
I cannot have another Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
Just dropping a baby on a doorstep and bouncing. Like I couldn't do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. So
if they would have had Superman and Doomsday flying at each other and cut to black credits and then we don't get anything else, I would have rioted in the street.
That would have been rough. And I've said this on the show before too. The whole series was almost completely tied up nicely except for that. Like, except for the Superman and Doomsday fight. Like, if it had needed to end there, it would have been a hard pill to swallow. But also, kind of the whole never-ending battle, continues. But regardless, we got another season, so that's good. But the point I was going to make about Guy Gardner was he looks fine in the world that they have set up for this film. Like because of Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl all being kind of Lord Tech people, the heroes employed by Max Lord, or however they're, if they're kind of doing the whole making fun of the boys with the vault and that whole thing, if that's what they're going for. But when you put Fillion's Guy Gardner with in the Lantern series and drop him next to Pierre and Kyle Chandler, I'm like, now is that going to work? Because I don't know. That seems drastically different to me, but we'll see. I'm excited. That's probably, after Supergirl, I'm most excited for Lanterns.
I'm not extremely excited for Supergirl.
Really?
I haven't read the comics that this story is kind of leaning towards.
Woman of Tomorrow.
It's
Tomorrow. Really good. It's a really good run.
So I guess I need to jump into that and check that out. But I don't know, the idea of following a Supergirl who's like bopping around the universe doing kind of like a fantasy sci-fi thing, it's not got me super excited.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see on that one.
I highly recommend Woman of Tomorrow if you've not read it, and if anybody listening has not read it, it's kind of the groundwork they're laying for the film from that series that is a few years old now, but it's really well done, and the art is just magnificent. And if they can make that movie look like that book or those comics, I'm all for it, because it's just a phenomenal looking and just a well done story. So we'll see. And now we've got Momoa back as Lobo.
Which is, let's be honest, that's the casting everybody thought he should be.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was fine as Aquaman. That was one take of Aquaman, and it worked pretty well. I have not watched Aquaman 2 because I just wasn't all that interested. I'll get to it at some point. But him as Lobo, sold, done, absolutely.
It was hard to, knowing that everything was coming to an end, it was hard to watch a Shazam 2 or an Aquaman 2, because it was
Shazam 2 was not fun.
Yeah.
There were some serious writing problems with that film. First and foremost for me was the fact that the guy playing the kid who's playing Billy was fine. I thought he was great.
Oh, he's fantastic.
And then when he would turn into Captain Marvel, Shazam, whatever you want to call him.
He was a spastic child.
Zachary Levi, I don't know what he was doing.
There was no continuity.
You guys needed to sit in a room and chit-chat about the character, because you guys were playing wildly different versions of this character, and it did not work for me at all. And that was a bummer, because I actually really enjoyed the first Shazam movie. I thought it did well. Like, it's the start of what could be a big franchise. I'm like, yes, I'm here for it. The second one, I checked out of that thing. That wasn't good at all.
Well, the hard thing there too is he's already aged so much, that he's already an adult turning into Zachary Levi. I mean, you've got to.
And when you are dealing with stories, I mean, we're dealing with that with Stranger Things, which is still a problem for me. When you are going to make a movie or a TV series or whatever, and your characters are children and you have casted children, you cannot take 2 to 3 years between movies or seasons and think that this is going to be okay, because suddenly your kid who's supposed to be in the 7th grade has to, pause between shoots to shave his mustache because it's growing so fast. You made a mistake. You gotta do that quicker. Yeah. Just like tell a story for them as kids once and then move on.
Yep.
Ugh, it was rough.
And that's why Levi lamenting a Shazam 3. I'm like, what were you gonna do? It was gonna be another 2 years at least, and he's already how old? Like, it's just not.
And that was another misstep that I was just like, I couldn't understand why, when you're gonna bring Shazam into your universe and not have him fight Black Adam.
Yeah.
And like, what are you doing?
We have The Rock. We have The Rock to thank for that.
Yeah, Rock. I lost a lot of respect for The Rock for just trying to just not do what the fans wanted from this franchise.
Well, the hierarchy definitely changed.
Yeah, went right out the door.
Let's talk Smallville. In looking up these 2 episodes that we've watched to discuss today in season 3, Hereafter and Velocity, I realized at the top of this recording, Velocity actually aired 21 years ago last night. February 11th, 2004, which is crazy.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I haven't rewatched Smallville since it aired.
Yeah.
I've tried. I've honestly given it a shot, starting with the pilot, and I could make it through like the first season, couple episodes into season 2, and then I just kind of burn out. Not because the show's bad or anything. It's in my opinion, it still holds up more now nostalgically than ever, but just because it's such a different type of show that we just don't do anymore.
Yeah.
But it's so much, man. When you got 22 episodes a season and you got 10 seasons, like, that's a lot of show. Like, I burn out pretty quick. So this is the first time I've rewatched these episodes since they've aired. Specifically these 2 episodes. When me and you were talking about which episodes I was going to come on and chit chat about, like, I kind of got the bottom of the barrel of like, well, here's what's left. Because, everybody wants to come on and talk about the big episodes,
Sure.
the mythology building episodes.
Sure.
And so I was like, all right, we'll find something to talk about with these episodes. I mean, you got the Fast and the Furious episode, and then the one with Superman's cape. Sure,
the final
the
final destination episode.
Yeah, but I think I've managed to find some things in these episodes that are actually really, really strong, and actually for Velocity, which is the Fast and the Furious ripoff.
Yeah,
a bit of character development that was needed, and I thought they did really, really well. Because as I'm watching it for the first time in 20-something years, I didn't remember the beats per se, and I fully expected them to go one way, and they went a different way.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to talk about that with you.
I'm excited. Not as much Velocity. You can be excited for that one. I'll be excited for Hereafter because I really like Hereafter, and it's etched in my memory from the Five for Fighting song at the beginning. So many moments. Obviously, you mentioning Superman's cape. That was a huge, huge moment.
Oh, I remember seeing that on the TV when it aired.
Yeah.
I remember standing up
and
being like, did we just see what I thought we did? Not only was it Superman's cape, which me and you shared this opinion, it was Superman's cape done right because there was a yellow shield on the back of it.
Yes. And so it wasn't just this red fabric waving in the wind. It was literally the S, the yellow S on the back, which I'm always for. There should always be a yellow S on the back of the cape. So glad we're getting that in the new film this summer because that cape looks phenomenal, especially with that plastered on the back. It's also kind of reminiscent of the Lois and Clark opening with the cape flying.
Absolutely.
In the opening credits there. So yeah, that was a huge moment in remembering this episode. Episode 312, the 56th episode overall, aired February 4th, 2004. I had forgotten this. Directed by both Greg Beeman and James Marshall. I can't remember why, and this may be the only episode. I don't want to claim to that because my memories I've forgotten more than what I remember, but I can't remember too many episodes that had two directors, much less Greg Beeman and James Marshall, who were two of the biggest directors for the show. And in watching it again, there were several times I was like, it's weird to me that there's so many moments throughout the early seasons that get replicated in like the opening credits and stuff you see over and over again. There's even, Pete, that when the car explodes behind him in Velocity and he jerks back, that gets used. And I'm like, and there's so many moments in Hereafter, I'm like, why was like that cape would have been in the opening credits to me from season 4 on. Yeah. Absolutely would have been utilized in some form or fashion. That shot of it, in infinity or however you want to think about the way it was utilized. The explosion that is so well done in this episode.
The explosion of the house?
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
They're probably still feeling that in Canada.
Right?
That house must have been loaded with dynamite.
I'd forgotten what a well done handled procedure that was in doing it. Like I remember a house exploding, but I didn't remember, just to the degree at which it did, that Tom on the ground, like all that stuff. It didn't clock for me.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked. And actually both these episodes feature stunts that I thought were phenomenal. The house explosion, which again, the biggest explosion probably in that entire series. It was concussive. It was giant. I was surprised by it. But then the car wreck in the finale of the next episode is also really stinking. It's violent and it's like ridiculously huge. I was pretty blown away by both of those stunts.
They're two kind of budget heavy episodes, back to back. Just to be, kind of dropped here. Usually 12, 13, not the greatest once you get over the mid-season cliffhanger and come back in. They're just kind of forgettable episodes, but these are...
Especially when you're talking, again, about episodes that aren't necessarily like mythology episodes that are going to drive forward the overall story. We had a little bit of that with, in this episode... was it this episode with... No, that's the next episode. We had a little bit of that with Pa Kent dealing with his heart issues. So yeah, that's mythology building
Sure.
in terms of Smallville, because we do have to deal with the fate of Jonathan Kent. But for the most part, especially this one Hereafter, it's a self-contained, its own story kind of an episode, and for them to drop that kind of money on an explosion, maybe they didn't know the explosion was going to be that big. Maybe they were like, "Oh, the house is going to fall apart. It's going to boom," and then like unfortunately, they took out half of Vancouver with an explosion.
We went by there. It was still charred everywhere.
Yeah,
when we were there. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, back in the day, I remember on our forums, on the Krypton site forums, this one kind of getting called the Final Destination episode, because obviously the premonitions that Jordan sees of how people die. It was, a lot of that on TV back then was what can we get close to and pull from and get away with.
What's popular right now?
Yeah, what's popular right now. And obviously Final Destination and Fast and the Furious were two huge franchises that are still, both of which have sequels coming out.
I'm currently going through the entire Final Destination franchise with my son. He's a senior in high school.
Yeah.
I was a good parent or terrible parent. I don't know which is which, because I grew up watching all of the horror movies.
I
from
did
like
too.
when I was a wee kid all the way up. I watched everything. My children have yet to watch hardly any horror movies. I kept them very, very secluded from that kind of film, and so for some reason I felt like I'm going to rewatch the Final Destination movies for some reason, and he was like, I want to as well. So we've been sitting down for the past couple months rewatching the entire series leading up to the new Final Destination Bloodlines that's about to come out.
I just saw the trailer for that the other day, so
I did not. I'm not watching the trailer. I tend to avoid trailers these days.
It's one. I assume it's just a scene from the movie. Is all it is. It's one of the deaths, and I've never been the big. I remember watching the first one and loving it, and then all the subsequent ones I was like, yeah, whatever. They're fine, but I remember the first two. I still can't get behind a log truck on a highway without thinking of the second movie at this stage in my life, which is 25 years removed from when that one came out, or 22. I don't know when the second one came out, but it's just weird to me that talking about these two episodes that aired 21 years ago this month, February 4th and February 11th, and that both of those franchises have sequels coming out.
I know.
this year, next year. I don't know when the other Fast and Furious is coming out, but
I always like the fact of like, you remember in the first Fast and Furious when they were still in VCRs?
Yeah, still in VCR.
And now they're like going to space.
Yeah, now they're in space. Hereafter does follow Meteor Freak Jordan Cross, or Meteor Infected by this point, Jordan Cross, who can see dead people, who can see how people die. Probably one of the more melodramatic episodes of the series.
It's a bummer. It's not
It's
a
a
happy
bummer.
go lucky. There's not too many happy moments in this episode. So when he touches people, when he gets physically touched by another person, he just sees their last moments. I believe the first time we get to see this is when he bumps into, I think it's Lana, right?
Lana's the
Lana
first.
Van
Yeah,
Clark?
the first. Yeah.
Here's the thing. So he touches Lana, or she touches him. He sees her final moments. We see an old woman in a bed surrounded by her family passing away peacefully. They cast the older Lana just absolutely terribly. Just the whitest old woman.
Louise Grant.
Nothing like Kristen Krug.
Louise Grant portrayed old Lana Lang, and whoever was old Lana Lang's husband or love, who was definitely not Pete Ross because he was white, is uncredited. So I don't know who he was, but
I was like, that was terrible casting, guys. Like, I didn't expect them to put Kristen up in some old age makeup and throw her in a bed, but like, you could have at least got the ethnicity correct.
Yeah.
Like, it was a little weird. But he sees her. She's very peaceful. She goes peacefully. He even says later, he's like, no, something's changed. Like, the first time it was a good death, like surrounded by the people you love type thing.
Yeah.
Now she's burning alive in a house kind of thing.
That's a bad death.
But he's like not happy throughout the whole thing. Like he's struggling because he's had these gifts. He's finally convinced his father to let him go to public school, which is difficult when like the scene where he's in the hallway and people are just trying to get by him and he's bumping into each one, and you get that little flash from the camera showing that he's seeing everybody's fates. So he's having a really rough go throughout the entire episode. Not only that, but then you have this coach who lost his daughter due to a terrible car accident. She's passed away recently. He's just decimated. He tries to unalive himself in front of a car, and he ends up blaming Lana and another one of the cheerleaders for being the impetus reason that his daughter died. Like, there's no happy. There's no happy in this episode.
And it's so. Lana tells the coach, she's like, "I'm sorry, I haven't been by to help to do something." And it's like, well, there's nothing to be done now. Jeez.
Oh, I know. Don't make her feel any better,
to a high
bud.
school student. Well, she's dead. Thanks for asking. She loved this time of year, but she's dead. Obviously he chooses to take his own life in front of a car that had plenty of time to stop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is one of those it was kind of before cell phones were
yeah.
I don't know. They were doing something. They were reaching for a loose change on the floorboard or something. Was not paying attention.
And I forgot how just drastic the premonition is of him getting hit. I mean, that's one of Steve Glossen's favorite thing. Car out of nowhere, mowing somebody off screen, hitting them down. And it's just like, geez.
Speaking of Final Destination.
Yeah, right. So I had forgotten that you actually get to see his death play out there. And obviously Clark steps in, and that becomes kind of a theme for the episode by the end of it when he's talking to Martha. Maybe I was put here to change destiny. Maybe I'm here to make a difference in some way. And there's two instances of him changing fates in this one between Coach Altman and Lana. Who, again, yes, it was not any idea that would have been Lana other than the de-kryptonized meteor rock necklace around her neck.
And also a thing that Smallville tended to do, and I honestly can't point to how they could have avoided this over a 10-year run, but especially in these early seasons when it's very much the whole Freak of the Week type thing, is that suddenly in this episode, we are now learning once again about a traumatic thing in Lana's life. A friend a deep, close friend that she's always had.
Yeah.
A coach we've never seen before, but has definitely been a part of this school for this whole time. And we just have to buy that this is a thing, even though we've never seen these people before. We have to buy the relationship here. Okay. But then I also, again, haven't watched this show in forever, so I don't remember the specific beats. I kind of expected Jordan at the end of this episode to be like, "Yeah, I just can't do it, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay homeschool,
but it's been fun.
Yeah,
I love y'all." No, he stays.
Yeah,
and he's like friends. They all went through a very traumatic bonding experience together. So he is tied to these people. They're his only friends that he's got at this school, and we never see him again.
Never see him again.
Even though he can still go to the school because he loses his powers after the explosion.
Yeah.
Whatever happened caused his mutation, his abilities to just go away. So now he can live a happy life. Do you think they could have written hey, now that the powers are gone, we've been trapped in Smallville, just hiding ourselves away. Me and my father are now going to go out. We're going to go to Metropolis. We're going to explore the world.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to live a normal life.
Yeah.
No, he's going to stay in town with his friends who clearly abandoned him next week because we never see this kid again.
So this is funny, actually. Season 7, there was a tie-in for Stride Gum. You remember? You were there.
I think we all remember.
Despite trying to forget. But there was a tie-in called Smallville Visions. And Jordan was at the One Republic concert
Really?
At the
Like
Stride
the
Gum
same guy?
factory.
Did they call this kid up and be like, "We're back"?
No,
guy?
it's just a comic. So it wasn't video or anything like that. So Jordan talks to Pete, who he doesn't actually talk to at all in this episode.
Even in this episode?
No, I don't think he. Yes.
Too busy street racing.
In one scene?
Maybe he was in the Torch.
Yes, yes, he was in the Torch. He comes in with Chloe at the beginning. That's it. Yeah, because Martha and Jonathan only have one scene in this. Well, I guess Jonathan Schneider actually has two in this one, but Martha's only got the one at the end. Yeah, I'm sure they were prepping Sam for driving stunts for the next one, so he's only in one, maybe two scenes in this one. But yeah, so he and Pete meet up at the One Republic concert. From my memory, and he touches Pete, and he sees Lex killing Pete and him.
But he doesn't have powers anymore.
And that's but it happened. It comes back. Inexplicably comes back.
That's good.
See, I bet there's a. Oh yeah, here look. Jordan was kidnapped by 2 Luthor Corp employees, but he escaped and sent a text message to his friend Zach. Jordan was then stunned by Lex Luthor. Jordan woke up in a Luthor Corp lab where Lex planned to use him to see how he would die. Lex put his hands on Jordan, and Jordan then saw all of Lex's near-death experiences from over there.
Just overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's like his
like,
own.
You should have been dead so many times.
It's like his own little montage. Jordan then became unconscious. Lex left to confront Pete Ross. Don't remember what the tie-in there is. Clark burst in and saved Jordan and took him to the hospital. Jordan told Clark he was having trouble blocking out Lex's visions and asked if he could touch Clark. Jordan then held Clark's hand, and peaceful visions of Clark's future presumably filled Jordan's head and blocked out Lex's nightmarish future. Okay. So he does return later down the road. Post high school, though. Or, well, maybe it's still high school for him because wasn't he a freshman? I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
so yes, they find a way to bring him back in through Stride Gum. There you go.
Thank you, Stride Gum.
Thanks, Stride Gum. Thanks, Geritol. Yeah, going back to what you mentioned about Lana, just another thing. I think I take for granted how I was about that same age. You're older than me, but I was about that same age.
Thanks.
with not my, you look younger than me. I was about that same age as all of them going through high school. Mm-hmm. So it was just, I mean, it was a high school show with Superman influences, and I was there for the Superman influences until Lois showed up, and then I was there for Clark and Lois, which I absolutely adore. Tom and Erica together as those two characters, but these little breadcrumbs we would get of like the cape and stuff like that were so huge back then because we got so little of that.
Especially when you start the show with a no flights, no tights. We're keeping the Superman aspect of this character buried. Right. So whenever they threw us those breadcrumbs, it was huge for us.
Huge. I mean, putting the yellow S on the red cape.
Yeah. Was that the first time we saw the crest, the shield?
Other than the shop class S that Clarks make and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, other, Alexander the Great's thing in the museum and Lex talks about with the ad, there's
it was always teased, but
it was always teased, but this is the first time you get a
Superman's crest,
which was such a big deal. And again, it being on the cape was such a big deal for me. On top of that, but with all these traumatic things happening to Lana, I never looked at it from that way. Like, Lana's not by any stretch of the imagination my favorite character. And I have to tap the sign of what I always say. I absolutely love Kristen. I love her performance as Lana. The issue was not in her performance or anything like that. It was in the way they wrote her or wrote the situations for her. I mean, my God, she's got
Yeah,
this going on in this episode, and then she's also got this guy she's harboring at the Talon who's, a zombie, essentially. Spoiler alert.
Listen, I know Adam Knight makes appearances in these episodes. I could care less.
There was so much going on. And season 3 and season 9 are the darkest seasons, in my opinion. But there were so many storylines going on throughout season 3. Because you even 11 episodes in, you're still talking about Clark being on Red K and going to Metropolis. Mm-hmm. Now you've got Jonathan's heart and the deal that the pact he made with Jor-El. You've got Adam Knight. You've got Lex's manic episodes and everything. Lionel kind of pulling the strings behind the scenes. He's not even in this episode, but obviously looming over certain things that are going to be coming to fruition. So there's just a lot of woven into these storylines, and yet another traumatic episode for Lana. And back then I'm like, well, whatever. But now I'm looking back, I'm like, my God, I didn't give her enough credit back then watching, because all the crap she has to put up with. I feel so bad for her.
Well, she has to put up with all that crap because I feel like the writers didn't know what to do with Lana Lang.
No, they didn't. I mean, more often than not, they did, and then they didn't. And then they'd find a way to weave her in.
They came in, they're just like, they had two things. They're like, this is the girl Clark loves. He's going to be pining for this girl. And then this is the girl he's going to be saving a lot.
Yeah.
But when the audience gets tired of the will they, won't they, and gets tired of the fact that Lana's always the one getting saved, what do we do with her?
Yeah.
Well, we got to put her in some like crazy ass situation where we give her Adam Knight babysitting duties.
Yeah.
We give her,
she gets trampled on by a horse because Lex is in hiding, and all these things.
We're gonna tell her she's got a father she's never met before. We're gonna turn her into a witch.
Worst storyline of the whole series. I'm sorry.
Could not figure out what to do with Lana Lang, and that's absolutely evident when we get Lois, and they know what to do with Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Lois Lane comes in as a full-fledged character and one of the more engaging characters on the show right off the bat.
The show takes on, and this is nothing against anybody that was in the first 3 seasons, but I mean, the ante is upped so much when Erica shows up. The show is so much stronger when Lois becomes a part of it. And I absolutely love the first 3 seasons. I'm not negating those, but it becomes so much more of a succinct vision of what we want to move toward when she gets there. Tom's acting is upped when going up against Erica. He changes so much of what he does as his Clark, and is more confident and a little cocky and a little arrogant.
And I absolutely love. And I know this is off topic from what we're talking about, but I absolutely love the idea that when they introduced her, it wasn't as a love interest.
Right.
It was like Clark genuinely did not care for her. Like she was such a nuisance, and she got on his bad side all the time, and he's just like, oh my gosh, I cannot stand this girl. Where the only time you see him happy is when she's like, well, I gotta go, I'm leaving for a while, and he's like, thank God. I mean, have a good trip, kind of thing. And when we start there and we end with them as Lois and Clark as we know and love them at the very end, that arc for those seasons, like, good on you guys for having that happen, because they could have easily been like, we're introducing Lois Lane, and in the 3rd episode she's in, they're going to fall in love. Yeah.
Yeah,
like it would
by the end of season 4, they've moved to the will they, won't they, and that's not what they did. And I mean, it's even still, it's an aggravated thing between them, but it's also still a very flirtatious thing between them throughout, because they are attracted to each other, and that's obviously part of the 2 very good looking people, and obviously the friction that lies there. I still maintain, and again, love Kristen, love Lana. But I think Lana should have left at the end of season 3 when she went to Paris, and I think it would have been stronger had she come back and say like season 6, or had taken a couple of seasons off and then returned, because I think that there's more that they could have done with that character. When we're still at season 7 and they're doing the will they, won't they between the 2 of them, and you've got Lois there, it's tough, and you get into the whole shipper war thing of everybody that's like, oh well. and it still astounds me to this day when you've got 90 years worth of legacy between these two characters, and you've got people who just absolutely loved Tom and Kristen together, which there's nothing wrong with that, who are like, well, they should have been in game because they were together for 7-8 years, and he only chooses Lois because he can't be with Lana. And I'm like, it's okay, whatever.
Yeah, and
is it
this
fun
show
living in your
started
world?
as, when Smallville started, one of the things, especially as a Superman fan, that you were just tied to was like, you got Clark, like, it looks like him and Lana are going to be in a relationship. He's going to get the girl of his dreams type thing. He is going to be best friends with Lex Luthor. And you're just watching this unfold, knowing that in the end, that romance does not work out.
Yeah.
He finds his true love, Lois Lane, and you know that his best friend is going to become his mortal enemy.
Yeah.
And watching that journey, like, that was the big drive for this show, is that everything that's happening right now is not going to go well in the end for these specific relationships.
No.
So he, like, if he ended up with Lana in the end, like, if they just pulled like it's gonna be Lana. We're gonna pull the rug out from under. We're gonna do something different.
Surprise, Lana is Lois.
Yeah, no, that would have been terrible. Anyway, Hereafter. Here's my thing watching this episode. We talked about the reveal of the cape. I love the reveal of the cape. I was excited for it. Now, if we were making this show now,
Sure.
how cool would it have been if he got touched by Jordan and what he sees is just like smoke and fire, and through the smoke comes this bony fist.
Same thing we said back in the day.
Black.
Same thing Tucker and I said way back then. What if a bony protruded knuckle just came right at came right at the camera?
That would have been. I would have freaked out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And I watched that. I watched it last week when I watched this episode, and I was just like, man, that would have been powerful.
Yeah.
Because this kid would not have known what the hell he
What was
just
that?
saw.
Yeah.
Oh, already he didn't really understand it because it's a cape flying into unknown universe.
Yeah.
But, like, what if he saw a monster hand coming at Clark? He's like, you are in danger.
Yeah.
I don't know when this happens, but it's not ending well for you, son.
Something's coming for you, buddy, and it's not of this earth. Yeah, and then if they had done that and then replicated that same shot in season 8, which they never would have done because that wasn't forward thinking enough. But yeah, no, we said that back in 2004. I remember discussing this episode for weeks after it aired, and the cape and what all that with Tucker, which is so many of those conversations are what Starkville's House of L was born out of in 2005, a year after this episode aired. But we talked about that. We were like, what if it had just been Doomsday's fist coming at him? Break it, the same shot of it like coming through the S, the logo.
They need to redo a fan edit now of Clark touching Jordan, and then it's Tyler on the bed. Dying with his sons around him.
There you go. That's funny.
There you go. Somebody get on that. YouTube.
Yeah, you got it, people. You know what to do. Yeah, in the background of this whole episode is the Adam Knight storyline, which I remember being engaged with as it aired, and I guess because of the outcome of it, I'm so much less engaged with it here. I mean, at this point, we still didn't know if he was going to be Batman or not.
No, I know.
Watching back in the day,
the speculation for Adam Knight was rampant.
Well, they kept drilling him down our throats, and we were like, well, he's got to be something. And, obviously, it ends up not being the case. I am kind of looking forward to... I haven't really visited Resurrection and those episodes that close out his arc, Crisis, since their original airing. So with 2025 eyes on, I'm kind of interested in going back through and looking at those. But yeah,
now that I've watched these 2 episodes, I think I might delve into the next few episodes just to get back into the swing of things, because I've been using this show as kind of my rewatch. I vaguely remember the episodes enough that I don't feel like I'm being spoiled on anything, because when you haven't watched something in 20 years it's almost like you never watched it. But listening to you guys, to the shoe episodes, that's kind of been my rewatch.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, yeah, maybe I'll finish this season out. Why not?
Season 3 at the time, in going through it, I maintained seasons 5 and 9 are still, I think, my favorites. But I really at the time dug this season. I think because they had gotten so much more hands-on in telling a story that wasn't just one-offs, freak of the week, and these little arcs that would cover for 3 or 4 episodes and then go away. And this one, it was so rare that we got a freak of the week or that was not the villain or not had some
villain,
evil
and
intention.
I was excited when this episode started, and it turned out that Jordan wasn't completely smitten with Lana Lang.
Yeah.
And that being kind of the trigger for the adventure, as we just got time after time again. But yeah, it was nice having a freak of the week that wasn't ultimately the person we had to fight. Like, he was able to team up with Clark, and he didn't necessarily like learn Clark's secret kind of thing. But Clark knowing his secret and being able to like be honest with him, be like, "Hey, I understand what you're dealing with. I believe you. Let me help you." And them teaming up together worked really well. It was a good change of pace.
Yep. Of course, so much this season dealt with death so much. This episode deals with death so much, and then you get to the end of it, and obviously Clark's had this lovely conversation with Martha. Goes out to the barn to talk to Jonathan and finds him collapsed, and Schneider does a good heart attack. I'll give him that. He
a couple times,
a few times, that he has that issue with his heart, but obviously just that not now, not yet, and
and we know now this moment that he's going to be okay. Like we're going to get out of the hospital on this one. But as Superman fans, when Clark Kent walks into a barn and finds his dad on the ground, like. And the credits, when it goes to, we are immediately thinking like, that's it. Pa Kent's done.
Is
now
he gone?
What?
I mean, and thinking back then, I'm like, we would have given him a bigger death scene, right? Not just like, not yet, not now. I love you, son. Gone. Thankfully, we didn't have to wait a long time for the next episode. And I'm pretty sure.
Like season finale.
Yeah. And or one of those where it was like back in 6 weeks or, God, this is taxing.
The premiere of America's Top Model for the next 12 weeks.
Beauty and the Geek on the CW. I'm trying to remember if Jonathan was in the trailer for Velocity at all, but I don't think that he was.
I doubt it.
I don't think that he
Probably
was.
just cars driving fast.
But obviously, that being the episode, and Clark, there not being anything about Clark out of what's going on in this episode, it was like, okay, well, they didn't kill him off because they're not, the episode, the cold open was not going to be him and Martha walking in from the funeral and then him dealing with the Fast and the Furious Pete the Boss Ross situation. So
but it is one of those things as Superman fans, like there's two kinds of people watching this show. There's people who are watching it because it's a good show and it's it's timely and all that kind of stuff. But then there's the Superman fans watching it. And when we're seeing the echoes of, for most of us, the Superman, the movie being put onto this show, like we get excited, we get worried, we see Jonathan Kent having heart problems. We know like, oh crap, we know how this is going to end. Like, how are they going to pull this off? Or like you get super worried, especially when you have a Jonathan Kent that's so integral to the story that we are currently dealing with, the journey of a young Clark Kent coming into his own. And are you guys going to rip away like this guiding force in his life? And we're 3 seasons in, like, oh my gosh, like this was a big deal. Yeah,
it was at the time. Like, obviously this is the start of everything. Well, I guess technically, Exile Phoenix was the start of everything, but seeing what is going to ultimately happen with Jonathan starts playing out here, and the deal that he made that he won't survive, that his heart could not take what was thrust upon him when Jor-El endowed him with abilities. And, that's something that plays out here. It plays out Legacy here in a few episodes where, he starts Jor-El, communicating to Clark and calling for him and all of this. And
listen, what we do learn from watching all these shows is that as scientifically advanced as Krypton is, they have not figured out heart stuff.
no.
when hearts have problems, they're just like, I don't know, guys.
We're out. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I really do like this. I remember liking it then, and I really like it now. It's a little bit different, like we were talking about. It is because of the way they utilize the Freak of the Week. But despite the Adam Knight, Lana B plot going on, investigating him into why he's leaving drugs all over the place and all that kind of needles behind, and Lex kind of which Lex is like, hey, why am I paying for all this broken furniture and windows and stuff? Like, he had every right to be like that in his business. But it's just a good episode, I remember. And then you get to the Velocity.
I was thoroughly surprised. Again, I hadn't watched it in such a long time that it is definitely one of the kind of, I guess you would call it the most basic Smallville episode that just works really well on a lot of levels. Gives Lana something to do, gives Clark something to handle that you don't necessarily see him, because, again, he's usually having to fight the people that are meteor infected.
The freak of the week in this case is a car.
Yeah,
I guess. No, I think it was always just the air of, it's just the Fast and the Furious. It's a Pete episode. It's to go back then, and Pete episodes were always hit or miss. I feel like this one actually written by Todd Slavkin and Darren Swimmer, who would later become showrunners in season 8. And directed by the late Janoz Wark, who we just lost a few weeks ago, and who directed some of the best episodes of Smallville, including Homecoming, the 200th episode, Reckoning, the 100th episode, where we just talked about Jonathan dying. So many. No, he didn't do Reckoning. Who did Reckoning? Did Beeman do Reckoning? I can't remember. I do know that he did do Homecoming. He did Kent, which is the Earth 2 episode where Schneider came back in the last season. He did Candor, which is one of my favorite episodes from season 9. But in addition to that, obviously directed the 1984 Supergirl movie with Helen Slater. Directed one of my favorite movies of all time, Somewhere in Time, with Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour.
Love that flick.
And Jaws 2, but yeah, he just passed away a few weeks ago, so it's kismet to be talking about this one now that, again, just aired 21 years ago last night.
Yes.
Crazy to think about.
And here's the thing. I knew this was the Fast and the Furious episode.
Sure.
And in the back of my head, I was like, oh, man, the Fast and the Furious episode, this isn't a good one. I surprisingly really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed Clark and Pete having this situation where Pete has gone too far. He's gotten in way above his head, comes to Clark for help. Clark really has to struggle to help his friend because his friend has gotten himself into trouble that Clark can't just go and punch.
Sure.
Like, this is a serious thing. Like, he needs, what was it, $20,000? That's not a kind of dollar amount that Clark can handle. There's nothing they can really do. He does his best. He has to do something he doesn't feel comfortable with. He has to steal a car from Lex Luthor. Like, he has to betray another friend.
Well, first he has to go ask Lex for $20,000.
Yeah, I couldn't do this.
And
Screw
then,
that.
and then,
he's
and
like,
then,
you're not going to give it to me. I guess I'll take your car.
Yeah, and then
listen, it was a good
car.
plan, solid plan. Too bad the kryptonite got in the way. But the thing, and not to like just jump to the end, the thing I loved the most about this episode was Pete coming to Clark and being like, "Hey man, thanks for helping me out. You want to shoot some hoops?
You're always there for me, bud. Let's shoot some hoops. It's like, no.
Pete's trying
dick.
to act like we got out of that jam, man. Thanks. Let's hang out. And I honestly, because I couldn't remember the episode very well, I thought Clark was going to get that basketball and he was going to like look at him and just shoot that basketball, and we were going to pan out with them playing basketball. All is well in the world. And when Clark was like, "Nah, man, nah, this is not. We are not okay. This is bad. Somebody died.
Yeah.
Like." There are consequences to your actions, your foolhardiness. This is not going to be okay anytime soon. And he walks off, leaving Pete behind. I was like, yes, that is so true. Like that is exactly how I wanted this to end, because man, that kid is dead. Like dead. That car accident, like we talked about before, was so violent that I'm like, if they run up to that car and the kid's like got a cut on his forehead and he's like, oh, what happened? Hell no, that kid is dead. There's a reason they didn't go check on him, because that couldn't have been aired on TV. That was bad. That and I'm when the crash happens and they're looking at the car like, oh man, what happened? And then we cut to the Kent farm and stuff. I'm like, you can't tell me that kid's not dead. So it was good that Clark was like, somebody died, Pete.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
And it really, I mean, they kind of never get back together. I mean, they're obviously
that relationship is strained.
It's strained, and then he leaves in just a few episodes. He's gone after everything on. Once he gets targeted by Loader at the end of the season, and he moves to Wichita with his mom because they're getting a divorce.
Yeah,
and but it's not too many times that they reconcile before all is said and done.
No, and honestly, it makes sense in the grand scheme of Superman. As we know, Clark moves to Metropolis. He gets a new group of characters that surround him, and Pete Ross isn't one of those people. Pete Ross is one of those people that is left behind in his past.
Until he becomes Lex's vice president.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's weird. And marries Lana Lang.
And marries Lana Lang. things that didn't come to fruition, that were not in game.
But it was a really good story to have, where Pete takes advantage of his friend in many ways, and then just expects when all said and done and he's got, he's off the hook, that it can just go back to normal.
Yeah.
And that it didn't. Like that was a story that I was really resonating with, because it felt very honest and it felt very real, as opposed to end of the episode, everything's cleaned up and we can just move on and no harm, no foul.
Right.
There were consequences to his actions, and he didn't just get off free and clear when Clark Kent comes and swoops in and saves the day.
Yeah. Pete's also kind of in the same hat as Lana, though, in that they really never found a good niche for him that wasn't just Clark's backup, or just his buddy that was along for the Scooby missions or whatever.
I would say 80% of the time he was in that exact same boat, and the other 20% he had a story much like this one to do, like when he found the ship and Clark had to let's what are you doing? I'm gonna steal the ship back. And when but I would say that he was having a problem too, in terms of like, once he finds out Clark's secret, once he's a part of it all, then what? Like, what do we do with him now?
Well,
and they're like, we don't really know what to do with him now.
And more often than not, his centric episodes were always somehow him in the wrong.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about obviously finding the ship and, being overzealous with that. And then obviously with this one, I mean, there were times where, him drugging Clark with Red K after the
that's what he wanted to do this time.
Yeah.
Like,
you didn't learn?
He wanted to do that like on his own. It wasn't like he was bad or anything.
Right.
He was infected. Like this time, he's just like, well, let's go rip off an ATM, throw that Red K ring on. You won't even feel bad about it.
We've broken into places before, because we're helping people. Well, I need help. Well, because you effed up. It's your fault that you need help.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have been doing this in the first place. And I really thought that they would have had a great way to bring him back in later in the series,
It was unfortunate they couldn't pull that
they
off.
just wasted that so badly. I mean, I get that he's product placement Pete, and it made sense to bring him back in a product placement episode, but there's no reason that Martha shouldn't have been running for re-election and that he be her return as her campaign manager or something. Something that would foreshadow his own future, or, you know, something that would put him and Lex on equal footing, or, you know, show him and Lana together in the future. I don't know.
Zero character growth.
Yeah.
He was gone for years, and he comes back like he was just on the episode yesterday, and they're still in high school.
Yeah,
and that was unfortunate. It's like they did him dirty in that regard.
Yeah.
I remember being excited, like, oh, Pete's coming back. That's going to be cool. And then when we got what we got,
and he comes back, and he's annoyed that Chloe and Lana and Lionel all know about Clark now, and that he's not the only one anymore, and I don't know. It's this
was a much stronger Pete episode than that one.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, anything's better than stretchy gum powers, but you know,
yeah. But a strong episode for Pete. He really doesn't learn his lesson in this episode.
No.
From point A to point B, like he is a smart ass in the beginning. Like, oh, I want to feel powerful, just like you. This is my thing. Like, don't take away my thing.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? He threatens to like out Clark if Clark outs him. Like,
right.
This guy is not okay. I'm sure he's going through some stuff at home, and this is the whole like broken family. This kid's kind of, you know, striking out on his own in many different wrong ways. But man, his arc in this episode was he's not doing great. He doesn't make any good decisions the entire time.
Nope.
And in the end, did he learn his lesson? No.
In the end, he plans to go act like everything went back to normal. And I mean, he learned his lesson from the standpoint of I'm not going to do that again, but he's still. But
that
there's
specific thing again.
Right,
but,
that specific thing again.
I'll find something else to do that's probably not great.
I'll find my own thing again. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
And that kid died, Mr. Coach Klein. Jason Dante's dead.
But it makes sense. Like I said, it's a realistic arc for this character. I know it's not an arc in terms of like he started here and at the end like he's learned his lesson, but it's an arc in that this kid feels inferior to his best friend. He doesn't have superpowers. Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, he wants to stand out and do something exciting, much like his friend. And like I get it. I get where he starts out, and I think it's very realistic that where he ends is still not in a great place.
Right.
You hope that it will be later down the line. Unfortunately for this show and for this character, that's not really meant to be, or at least we don't get to see that arc. But this episode feels like a more realistic version of that story than what you would probably get on other shows that are like superhero, kid-centric shows of like, hey, Clark, man, I learned my lesson. You were there for me. I'm going to be there for you always. Like, and I will always appreciate that. I'm never going to make this, he doesn't do that.
Yeah. And
it worked for me. It made this episode stronger than just being the Fast and the Furious knockoff.
And this actually gets lifted from not a Superboy episode, but the tie-in comic for the Superboy TV series in Clark saves Pete from drag racing, and he almost dies, and he has to step in and save him. So, yeah, it was something we had already seen previously at that point because I have those comics around here somewhere. But again, it was just I didn't like it at the time.
I didn't remember it being as thoughtful. Maybe it was youth. You know, I was just like, oh yeah, it's fast cars, and I'm just not really understanding the character impact of the show or this episode. But now watching it now and seeing it, like I'm seeing it through eyes of like, okay, there's fast cars, but what I'm noticing way more now is the fact that this character is not okay.
Right. Like
he's going through something, and he's just not learning his lesson as a whatever age high school kid that he is.
We do get 2 episodes of Sheriff Adams back to back, so that's strong. That's a good thing at least, because we love us some Nancy Adams.
That's right. She should have stuck around way longer.
Yeah, and her unceremonious death in season 5 is ridiculous. Yeah, one of those where I was actually more involved in the B plot when this was originally airing, because I was kind of wrapped up in the whole Adam Knight, Chad Nash thing. Which again, how I'd change my name to something cool like Adam Knight too if my name was Chad Nash.
Yeah,
what a
this
terrible
was
name.
a better B story plot than him just being sweaty and angry all the time.
Yeah,
Having Lex going in and investigating, starting to figure out kind of the secret of this kid. Was more entertaining, mostly just because we get more Lex, and Lex being Lex is always really fun. Him, being one step ahead of everybody else, being smart, the smartest guy in the room, is always more entertaining than just like anything else they throw at us in B plot stuff.
Yeah. But Lana has uncovered now that that Adam/Chad died 5 months ago from a rare liver disease. But he tries to. He's like, everybody's got somebody that looks like him. I'm like, no, Ian Somerhalder, that's you. That's a
doing?
picture of you. Your lies
For
killed
as suave and dark and mysterious as he's like, he's been put on to be. Like when he gets confronted, he's just like, "No, everybody's got a twin. Like what do you?
Looks like
yeah,
me.
it's fine."
Yeah, a twin that also is really good at karate and computer skills and piano. Took orchestra and all this other stuff. But yeah, so now we know he's dead and came back to life, and that's the only thing.
He is not Batman.
He's not Bruce Wayne. Which we pretty much knew that at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fool's dream, I guess. But when you want that to happen so bad, like I don't think throughout the entire 10-year run of this show, there wasn't a time where people were like, are they going to bring Batman in now? Are they going to bring Bruce Wayne in?
Right.
Again,
like the cape in the last one. Anything we could get our hands on. And I mean, Adam West, Dark Knight. I mean, we had every right to think it at the time that they were trying to be clever and pull one over on us.
I will say Smallville and then consequently Arrow, I think have been the best things ever for the character of Green Arrow in terms of like, we need to make him Batman when we can't have Batman.
Yeah.
And that translated into the comics as well. In the comics, he started to take on more of a Batman feel to him. More darker, more sinister kind of vibe in his comics because, like, hey, we can make this goofy character more like a Batman type character, give him that kind of a tone. And I think Smallville and then subsequently Arrow kind of proved that. Just because we couldn't use Batman.
Yes, I would agree with you there. Because, I mean, obviously that was the iteration bringing in Hartley on Smallville. And then I was never really a big fan of Amel's characterization on the CW.
I liked it. The season 1 was a little rough. First couple seasons were a little rough. But eventually I really enjoyed it. But it went on too long. I think I am a fan of shows now that clearly have their story planned out, and hopefully not in 22 episodes. I think the 22 episode old school type of doing TV is just a little cumbersome these days, especially when we just have so much content out there. To ask someone to sit down and watch 22 episodes a season is a bit much, and the stories get kind of lost in the weeds. In the CW shows, you had an overlaying arc for each season, but that story would take up maybe 5-6 total episodes of the season, and then the rest of the episodes were quote unquote filler. They were kind of one-off type things. I think that's a little much, and when it came to Arrow and The Flash and Supergirl, I think the stories just kind of got lost in there, and I got burnt out because I can hang and watch Smallville every week when it was airing for 10 years. I can do that. Now I've got 5 different shows I've got to watch. They each have 22 episodes. They some of them are airing back to back. Like I couldn't hang anymore. It was a little too much.
Well, my thing with those shows too, specifically Supergirl, were whoever was watching it, you're already playing to your fan base.
Yeah.
There's no need to keep hitting us over the head with stuff week to week that we're already on board with. Yeah. I mean, we were all. Nobody here is against anything you're saying, but they kept cramming it down our throats. Whatever.
And then, you had The Flash, which I enjoyed The Flash the most when it first started because it was fun. It was a fun show. I had a lot of fun watching it. There was some humor in there. It was lighthearted.
Well, and it was very reminiscent. It was very reminiscent of Smallville.
Barry Allen got.
Yes, and it was very reminiscent of Smallville early seasons too, with the freak of the week here and there.
Yeah.
And an event that caused them to, turn or be created or something, and Barry being affected by that as well, the same way that Clark was with the meteor shower.
Yeah. I enjoyed The Flash when he was excited and thought it was great to be a superhero, not when this being a superhero was a curse all the time and was ruining his life and he was crying all the time.
Sure.
And Arrow kind of had that same thing to a degree. And so I was kind of glad for it to end. I was ready. I was like, we've told the story, guys. We can wrap this up really nice. We've gotten out of this grand experiment, things we never thought we would ever see, like Crisis on Infinite Earths and Elseworlds, and we've got a Hall of Justice, we've got a Justice League, we got heroes that we never thought would be on the screen ever, and they were done pretty well. Like, we checked a lot of boxes on these shows. Mm-hmm. Now it's time to turn the lights off and move on, and in a few years we'll do something for the next generation, because these stories that we're telling, these shows that we love talking about, are very generational. Each generation gets to play in this sandbox. Your time is done. Let's move on. Somebody else will take up the mantle later.
Yeah. More to come.
Yes.
Well, that's it for these two, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think the meat of Velocity was the relationship between Clark and Pete, and kind of how that affects each one of them, and kind of the journey they go on there. Again, that car wreck at the end was superb, bit of stunt work. And if you're still following the Adam Knight storyline, more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's got a couple more episodes before you find out what his whole deal really is. That kind of worked, I guess.
Yeah,
from the line,
from the grand scheme of things, does anybody really remember Adam Knight when they're looking at the whole of Smallville?
Yeah,
not so much.
No, I don't think
too busy being creeped out by the fact that Lana's going to start dating one of the employees of the school later down the line.
Yeah, that's too old for you, but yeah, I agree. Jason, thank you. I really appreciate you coming on and getting to talk Superman.
No problem, man. I love talking geek stuff. I love talking Superman stuff, and this show has been a constant. I know you were talking about it being weird or surreal or crazy that you're involved in something that is deep in the history of Superman, like doing the new show with the Siegel and Schuster Society. But like, honestly, you've been ingrained in the lore of Superman for 20 years now. Like, maybe it doesn't feel like it to you, but on the outside, like, when the majority of us think about Smallville, Shu is not far behind in that conversation. So you are definitely a part of Superman lore from this point forward.
Wow.
You just need to accept it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Tell the good people where they can find you and your excursions.
Well, my excursions are not very Superman related, but if you are at all interested in cemeteries, in the artwork of stones that you would find in cemeteries, I do have a YouTube channel called The Cemetery Road, where I travel all over the country and sometimes outside of the country, doing kind of travel logs and tours of cemeteries on those shows. There's also a little bit of paranormal investigation here and there. It's not primarily a paranormal investigation show, but I do have done that in the past. But it's mostly just calm, relaxing visuals from cemeteries all over the place. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I'm about to get back into it with a trip to New Orleans to go visit some of the cemeteries up there that I'm super excited about.
When's that?
You can find that on YouTube, and it's called The Cemetery Road.
I'll see you next
I'm going to
time.
be coming your way soon, though, because it's been a little long since I think last Christmas, right before Christmas, I came and visited you. And I'm still holding out hope. I'm holding out hope that the possibility of coming down to see the new Superman movie with you can happen.
Yeah.
But with my work schedule, it's a little shaky. But either way, sometime in this next year, I'll come up and see you. And maybe even driving my Ghostbuster car.
Yes.
Because you have yet to check that out.
Because, again, our Venn diagram is a circle, and we
That's right.
There's very few
Superman,
people who
Ghostbusters, time travel, it's all there.
There's very few people who like on all cylinders like I fire with, like, because we're, and you shouldn't with everybody. All your friends should not be into the exact same things. That should be something that sets you apart and something that you overlap on certain things and not on others. But I love how much overlap there is for you and me that I don't really have that with anybody else that just absolutely is into so many different facets that I'm into. So I'm glad that
it is pretty fun.
I'm glad that we have that. Thank you again. If you are listening to us, we appreciate you so much. You can subscribe to us any which way you can, anywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, even if you're listening through the website, we appreciate you. If you are listening through one of those podcatchers of choice, though, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing us. We would really appreciate that. I've said before, at one time, I think we had about 1,100 reviews over on Apple, and then we lost that feed. So we lost all those reviews, and I'd love to get those numbers back up. Not no way if we get back to 1,100, I'm sure, as we did 20 years ago, but I'd still love to have some. So if you are listening through one of those means, it only takes a second. Just click on those stars, and if you felt led to leave us a review, do that as well. You can find us online, though, wherever you do your social media. We are on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, at Super House of L. And that's where you can find us and always keep up with the latest goings-on from the show. And once again, I want to remind you about patreon.com/superhouseofl. You already heard Jason give his glowing review of our bonus episodes over there. So we'd love for you to check us out, get involved. You can get yourself some shoe stickers as well as a SHoEligan membership card signed by Edna. So, there you go. So it's prove you've been a long-time listener of the show. And again, the Siegel and Schuster Society podcast, as Jason mentioned, is something that's very near and dear to my heart right now. I'm honored and excited to be part of it. And you can find that also online wherever you listen to your podcast. We will be back next time. Our next two episodes of the series are Obsession and Resurrection. So we'll be getting into those, and we'll see you again. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Jason.
No problem. Stay tuned for spoilers. There's no spoilers. You don't have, it's over.
There's
Go
no
home.
spoilers.
What are you still doing here?